If you're interested in attending Catholic worship, come consider the 10 o'clock a.m. Mass at St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. We're located just 4 blocks up from Soldiers Field Road at 43 Holton Street. You can check out our website at stanthonyalston.org. That's saintanthonyalston.org. And come to the 10 o'clock Mass and experience our chanted Liturgy of the Eucharist every Sunday. Let us offer our consecration to the Lord. Lord, we offer up to you this day as we look at our daily readings, as we always do, and we enter into another work week in ordinary time. Let us be filled with your Spirit, and let us be guided by your love in all that we do. And we ask this through Christ our Lord. Well, we're here on Monday, and this is the 10th week of Ordinary Time. And our readings today, I'm going to focus on the Gospel because our reading this week is from the Sermon of the Mount. And the readings today are what is known as the Beatitudes. And they are, of course, blessed are, and the list of all those. And looking at that, we can understand what our call is to be as people who are called to embrace this. Now, I was talking to someone the other day, and he said that this was I don't think it was a Catholic church, but it was a church where the preacher was reading this passage, and later one of the parishioners of the church, or the members of the church, walked up to the pastor and said that this is unacceptable because it's all woke. It's like, hello, you obviously don't understand this. To you, this might be very new. So we look at this and we see what's being said here is a very powerful teaching by the Lord. This comes right from Jesus himself. Now, this is the Sermon of the Mount. So I want you to imagine the scenario here. Jesus is speaking to a whole bunch of people who are sitting in front of him. Now, remember, at the time, they didn't have microphones, so his voice would have carried, and he may have been sitting in an area where there was a lot of reflection from behind him. I'm just guessing, but there were ways to make noise carry very well. A great example of this is if you've ever been to the beach. Especially if it's not too windy, and you'll notice you can hear perfectly people who may be a distance from, maybe they were out in a boat or anything else, and that's because the sound is carrying across the water. So clearly, whoever was in front of him, they could have heard what Jesus said, and he would have had a way of explaining it. And the other thing to understand is, again, we don't know exactly. Well, I guess we do, because we've seen, if you've been to Israel, which I have not, you will see the place where Jesus was standing. But you understand there probably would be people all around him, but obviously those in front of him would hear him better. And he's saying these words. Now, I want you to contrast this with one of the most epic scenes in movies, and that's Gilbert Gecko telling all his people who he's teaching about how to become rich in the stock market, greed is good. And there would be that, like, if you were used to understanding that greed is a problem, there would be that little feeling you have going, well, I don't know if I agree with that. And, if you wanted to follow Gilbert Gecko, you would have to silence that little voice and then continue into what he was doing. There's a reason why I bring that up, because him saying that would kind of hit you in a certain way. Wait a minute. I don't know if I believe that. Well, obviously, when we're talking with Jesus, you may, if you were there, you may have a little bit of that if you listen to the world around you that said, no, you have to make it, you have to do what you can to really make it in this world. You have to fight and become everything that you're called to be. Whereas what Jesus is saying is to change your values, because what he's really talking about is the fruits of humility. So to change your values and to change your ideas to a whole different way of thinking and acting. And if you're used to a very worldly way of thinking, and you heard these, for example, recently for the first time, you might say, wait a minute. This is like everything I was not taught. And that's why it's a powerful reality that we're listening to here with this Sermon on the Mount, the way it begins with the Beatitudes, because it's really teaching a way of humility. And we'll talk a little bit more about this on the other side of the break. You're listening to St. Anthony Overnight, which is part of the Voice of St. Anthony Parish from Allston, Massachusetts, right here on WEZE. We'll be right back right after this. You can now leave a message for us, which we can air and discuss on this program. Just call 617-297-7452. That's 617-297-7452. 617-297-7452. Feel free to call, leave a comment, a question, or even feedback, and we may play it on the air. I can discuss your comment or question as well, so give that a try. 617-297-7452, 617-297-7452. We're back, and again, we're looking at these powerful values that we see in the Beatitudes, which is Matthew 5, 1 through 12. So we're looking at these teachings, and what he's saying is having a whole different set of values. And with that whole different set of values, you have a whole different way of looking at things, and it's not the way the world looks around, So it's those who, in this set of values, which is rooted in your relationship in our Christian world, your relationship with Christ, you're going to act in ways that are going to be opposed the way even many people have been taught since they were, all through school, where they're taught to be humble and relying on God and knowing that there will be people who will reject them for this. But it's a powerful reality where you look at this and you understand that he's calling us to a whole different way of looking at things. Now, I want you to kind of think of it this way. So you understand what all your values are, and your values are rooted in your prayer life and in your seeking Christ, but seeking to do what is the Lord calling you to do within the context of the world. So we'll say, for example, you have a job as a manager, a managerial position in some place. We'll say it's a retail store, a managerial position. Now, the higher ups in the company may be saying, get out there and push and push and push. There's a great Twilight Zone episode. It's the story of Willoughby. Push and push and push. You got to get profit. You got to get this and that. And you're dealing with employees who are real people that you deal with on an everyday level. Well, so you're caught between the higher ups who are telling you to push and push and push, and looking at the employees and trying to deal with them directly. Where you find your response may be in your prayer, but also recognizing that regardless of what the higher ups say, you're going to treat people with the ultimate humanity. And you will find that you will have, for example, just hypothetically, I'm just saying this, a more loyal workforce who will help build that store and the atmosphere of that store and everything else. And you may not be pushing on one sense, but you want to make sure the store is profitable because you want to take care of your employees, you want to take care of the people in the area. And in doing so, you may have a popular store. There's a supermarket chain in the area, and a supermarket where they basically followed that practice. And then I guess a new leader came in and they went to change things. And there was a customer revolt throughout the area because they had built this loyal following from people who just loved the way they were treated at the store, the employees, and, of course, the customers. So you see that whole thing. So one side is the Gilbert Gecko. We need to raise the bottom line. We need to do this powerful. We need this. We need this. And the other part that says, no, I'm going to take within myself the rules that I see in the Sermon on the Mount, and that's how I'm going to run my life, and that's how I'm going to run my business. And in doing so, you may not become the most profitable business in the area, but you may have the one with the most loyal following. And that is greater than being the most profitable, because the profitable part will be short term, always, because it's going to be affected by the economy. But the loyalty part will be long term, always. So you see that. So kind of, I know it may sound kind of strange to take this religious aspect and put it into a business perspective, but I'm really not. I'm putting it into an interpersonal perspective so that we understand that Jesus is calling us to treat people in a certain way, and I'm showing how that would play out, we'll say, economically, but in just one of many ways. But what would you be doing? You'd be teaching people their value as in their jobs, in what they were doing, because that's the way they'd understand it most, and in their service and everything else. It's an interesting idea, but what I'm really going back to is understanding, not so much, I'm definitely not talking about the financial value by any stretch of the imagination of the Sermon on the Mount. I'm talking about living the values of the Sermon on the Mount in your daily life, which is, of course, what our program's all about. We'll talk more tomorrow. Have yourself a blessed day. I want to call your attention to Catholic TV, which offers great faith-filled, family-friendly programming 24 hours a day. You can find your cable channel at www.getcatholictv.com, and you can watch online on the free apps or check out the YouTube channel. Daily Mass, Rosaries, the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and the Our Lady of Perpetual Help Novena are all available online and on demand. Check out CatholicTV.com. Remember, when you're looking for a place to attend Mass, and if you don't already attend Mass at your local parish, come to St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. We're located at 43 Holton Street in Allston, just a few blocks up from Soldiers Field Road. And you can check us out, come to our 10 o'clock a.m. Mass, and come to experience our Catholic worship at St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts.